Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Ableton and how to use Ableton. I want to give advice, some things that I know, and I feel like I wish I knew certain things that I'm about to teach. If I would have known these certain things, they would have been, things would have been much easier, is what I'm trying to say. And Ableton scared me at first. When I first had it and downloaded it, it's overwhelming. I think there's a lot going on for a new music producer, someone who's never really gotten into it. But it's actually super simple and easy to use. And let me explain why. Because here, it's confusing. Like, this doesn't look like music, but nothing here looks like music. The only thing you see here is like the piano roll, which is just a keyboard where you write your notes. But actually, this is a very useful tool. So there's a couple ways of working in Ableton, and see, I don't even use this way. I'll explain how I work. Interesting. I'm learning constantly myself. Okay, right here, yeah, so I just figured that out. So there's two ways people work. Is people will work linearly, which is they create the song from 1 all the way till the end of the song, so whatever value is the end of the song. And what I just did was I went up here and created a MIDI clip, and there's no information in here. So what a DAW is it'll take MIDI data and play it back for you when you press play right here, right? That's what a DAW is. So to change between two modes here, you go on the top right, and this is very important. And you'll see why, because this view, this horizontal view here is how you see an overview of your song. And so each songs are built on, I would say, channels, and each channel can represent an instrument. And what you do is you put notes down for every instrument. So you create a channel here, and then you write your notes in, and it'll play it back. See, there's already an instrument assigned, and the program will play it back, whatever the sound you have programmed to your instrument. So I think I want to just, this is not how to use Ableton, but this is some tips. I like to work in clip mode and just write individual patterns within each clip, and then write them separately. I like this mode to write clips separately, patterns separately, so that I can hear them by themselves, and then later on, when I need to make a bigger pattern, I'll start a brand new line. And so here's the first tip, actually, for Ableton that I want to share is grouping. So grouping allows you to play multiple channels in sync and at the same time, starting at the same time, sharing the same BPM. Right here, this is important. This is the speed that the tracks play back, the beats per minute play speed. You can probably call it a speed, I suppose. So you press play here, and your music will play, and it's super important if you want to hear everything play at the same time. And even in this mode, you can see all your music here. So this is a great way to see everything combined. So one thing I didn't know about Ableton when I first used it was, I was like, you look at everything like this, like per clip, everything it starts like this. You typically, like, I'll start a new clip. So this is one little I say measure of music here, right? And this is cool, and but the problem is, when you make more measures, you extend it right here. It's pretty obvious, you know, anyone can figure this out, right? You just click and drag and extend it to now three or to a full 2 measures of music, right? So that's fine, but as you extend this out further and further, something bad happens. You can't see what you're doing. So that's actually fine. Everything stays scaled, and you can see what you're doing within the range of what you have selected. Moving this little bar is pretty obvious, but when you click on it and you move your mouse up, it actually widens the range that you can see. And I didn't even know this. For so long, I was just clicking and dragging like this. And like, it's actually, if you work like this, it's really hard to keep track of where you're at and what you're even doing. So if you're able to see the whole thing, this is very helpful. So that's one trick I wanted to share. That took me actually probably about 1.5 years to even know that existed. And it's all in this black bar here, this little bar. Okay, that's one trick. Another trick I can show is what can I talk about? Oh, this. So when you click on an individual channel, these are called channels, okay? Each one of these, yeah, okay, each one of these are channels, and when you click on it and you want to extend it like this through the mouse, that's fine. You can do that. Let me show you something that's annoying, actually. So if you don't know this trick, you'll just extend it. Let's say you're trying to make a full track, like 40 measures long, right? But this is how I used to do this. I used to wait and sit here and just drag this out, and I'm like, is there not a faster way to do this? Do I need like a special mouse that can like change the speed? the drag speed or something. Like, it was pretty bad. This is actually how I used to do this. But if I want to change it to 40, all I have to do is go here to the clip section, which is probably sometimes not even obvious that this exists. You go into this little thing, you press the drop down arrow, and then this confusing user interface pops up with a whole bunch of different numbers. And the only value that is so important out of all of this is right here, length. See, they don't specify what length. They just say length, so you don't think anything of this. This is actually the length of the pattern in measures. So, or bars and measures, however you say it. So, all you have to do, instead of wasting your time going like this and clicking and dragging, all you have to do is go here and think whatever pattern length you want and type it in on the keyboard. So let's say 40. I just saved so much time by doing this, and I didn't even know this in the past. So already 2 tricks that I'm teaching here. Something else that's important. Let's go into maybe maybe the preferences here. Trying to think. Let me explain something here. This is pretty important. I feel like this is calibrated for me, and I'm not going to change any values, but people always wonder what this all is. Okay, so like sample rate is obvious, do a little bit of research. Anybody who does a little bit of research into sound knows what these things are, roughly, but these are confusing values. So what a buffer size is it lowers the latency from your audio, like when it is supposed to play. If you lower this value, it'll play back, the sounds will play back sooner as you're hearing it. And if you increase this number, actually the sounds will play back slower. I don't mean slower like I mean the time that it takes to play them will take longer. This kind of thing. But it's higher the number is less demanding on your computer. So all this is this value is actually a sweet spot for how powerful your computer can be, how powerful your computer is, and how fast can your computer play back the sounds. So the lower the number means the stronger computer you have, pretty much. And this is beneficial. Why? Why is having a stronger computer, more expensive, faster computer better? Because you're able to have less latency. So it's important to figure out, to actually invest in a decent computer that can process data very fast. The faster the processor works, the better, more enjoyable the whole experience will be. Okay, that's pretty decent. And then input latency, I feel is like pretty standard. Okay, output latency, pretty self-explanatory, but not really. The one that really caught me was driver error compensation. I want to talk about this. So this is actually a simple concept. When your audio is recorded. I'm going to minimize this. We're going to look at my audio here. Oh, and same thing here. You can zoom in and move this cursor over. So audio driver, what is it? Driver error compensation refers to when your audio is recorded, how it ends up. So what we have here is like it's a compensation. I believe post recording, or how it processes and transfers the sound onto what you see finally. This is not a live thing, I don't think. Could be wrong. Let me explain though. From what I understand is that this number doesn't need to be changed until you see that there is a delay in what you see, right? So there needs to be some kind of compensation to how it's recorded. So right here, this is measured in milliseconds. The higher the milliseconds means the audio will be recorded soon, like with less space in the beginning, because it's been compensated to only record what you need. It's compensating for what isn't necessary. So I hope that makes sense. It's probably one of the more complicated things in this DAW, and I want to talk about test tone. So, but let me explain. The higher the number, so in milliseconds here, then that means that it will, like, if you take this time here, it will cut off that much time from the very beginning. It'll start earlier, so that it only records what is needed. If that makes sense. I don't think it particularly does. But it'll cut off this value. Whatever this value is the amount of time that it won't record in the very beginning. Okay, and this number needs to be calibrated based on sample rate and buffer size. If you change your buffer size or sample rate, or both, then this number will work differently. Okay, but an important one is to know how strong your computer is and adjust your buffer size. And sample rate. Is related to audio data, like how the quality of your sounds, higher the number, higher the quality, the more closer it is to the original source of the audio. So, and actually, if you lower this number, your audio will start to sound really terrible. So it is about quality. And actually, I wonder if I should record at 96. I feel like it could overall improve the sound. But I have more of a modest outlook, and I just like to do the bare minimum. Okay. What else is important? This is how you send audio in from a recording device. Okay, and this is my microphone actually, but I don't have it connected to here. I have it connected to my recording software, which is recording this screen. Okay, so, and then the output will actually output, like if you have headphones connected, your output, if you select your headphones, will go to your headphones. This is actually a pretty amazing technology. If you have HDMI connected to a monitor, like an actual monitor that has audio. This is my the monitor, actual visual monitor of what I'm using to see this right now. And you can connect your headphones to the monitor and it'll send your audio in from here into here, and it sounds great actually. And then the computer I'm using has speakers which sound awful, and it can the sound can go into there, and actually we can listen to it and you can hear how bad it sounds, and you can see just from what I'm talking about. Interesting. That's pretty cool. I think you could barely hear it. This microphone is pretty decent at picking up surrounding noises. Um, what are we doing? So you heard it through my microphone, but I mean, basically that's really it. I'm trying to think what else is important. Um, like what else are you not gonna see in a tutorial? This is a general overview of Ableton. Over here, I never really mess with this section other than the plugins. When you download plugins from various websites, when you install them, they'll install in appropriate areas. In older setups, maybe it's a little harder to install, and you might have to actually go into the files and click and drag things into appropriate folders. But for modern setups, modern computers, like this computer, for example, is running Catalina, and the plugins just work and install in all of the appropriate places. You will have to occasionally go over here into the plugins section and rescan again so that the plugins can show up. And sometimes I don't even rescan and they'll show up. So everything's pretty good there. And plugins can be, I have another thing to teach. I really want to teach this. This is super important, but I'm going to get into it. But I just want to explain plugins really quick. So plugins, like this is a very popular plugin currently. But let me see if I can get some sound out of it. So I'm just pressing my keyboard here is all. But plugins can either be instruments or audio effects. Now, about audio effects, I want to explain something very important that affects your overall quality of sound or how the sound is perceived. something super important. Any da. This is a good general tip. Incredibly important what I'm about to teach. So, sounds are recorded below what is pleasing to the ear. This is rightfully so. When we talk, we're not yelling maximum volume. When sounds happen around us, they're not as loud as they can be, because that would be overwhelming if everything was so loud. So sounds are quiet, pretty quiet, all right. But this is actually more so scientific. If you go here, I kind of you have to respect the zero. The zero, you can't go past the zero, and you want to be as close to zero as possible. And this is for music, okay? There's certain sounds that are more intense, and certain sounds that are more, I would say, unpleasant to the ears. Like they have a sharp sound. For example, like snare drums are too loud. If you hear them too long and too much, like over and over again, they're gonna hurt your ears. So you have to tame these kinds of sounds. But so how do you go about this? Well, every sound you have to make sure is ideally leveled, and you can do that either within the plugin. But most sounds you're gonna want to boost the audio to where you can hear the sound where you want to hear it. So let's isolate the drums really quick and play them. Okay, one moment. I'm gonna isolate the drums here. Okay, so I would like for you to take note of something. The sound is maximized, and this is pleasing to the ear, music-wise. So the sound is as loud as it can possibly be before it hits zero, and this was done through a couple things. One, the sound has to be pushed to be loud enough, and also, since sound is not evenly loud, there's going to be unbalance, and some of the sound is going to be louder than zero. So that's what a wave looks like, actually, is it's never equally powerful at all volume. All volumes are at all frequencies. It has character to it. There's certain frequencies that are more intense. So in this case, it would be like the percussive sounds from this drum kit that are like the snares, I would say, or just kind of how everything sounds together. It's kind of gets louder than 0. So I actually did something. So I have my volume at 40, so it sounds pretty loud, and then I used a plugin, an effect, and this will emulate or simulate overall loudness. And actually the plugin loads like this, and you just move this value up and the sound gets louder. Okay, great. Now it's louder than 0, and I'm going to play it back without something coming next. So you can see that this is the number that equates to how loud your sound is in decibels, how loud it got, the loudest sound got. And there's a way to actually lower this, because if you don't respect the 0, then it's actually going to sound too intense to your ears. So this 0 is actually a scientific number. And if you don't respect this, it could actually hurt your ears, damage your ears, do all kinds of things. So you have to be careful not to have your sounds too loud. So we've made the sound loud to where it can go past 0, but we also have to tame the sound so that it doesn't go past 0. So we make it louder, and I'm going to actually take the effect off on the master, because it's on the master as well, because when you combined all of the sounds together, all of the sounds will become louder than 0. So that's why this next thing that I'm going to show you is actually on the master. But it's also in this individual track, because I feel it is important to have this on the individual drum track. So what is this? This is a limiter. Okay, so I've used something to boost the sound, okay? And I use a plugin that I really understand, and it limits the sound. So actually when we enable it, currently it's not going to do anything, because it's not enabled, it's not turned on to work. So we can see that on the meter here, the sound has gone very, very loud and profound. Actually, look at how it will sound without it, without being boosted. It's now very quiet and somewhat dull and somewhat shy. It's like you want to hear more of it. You would even probably turn the volume up. But so that the listener doesn't turn the volume up, you want to boost your audio. Very simple. Okay, using an effect or using a real effect, like a real hardware audio boost, whatever that may be. Okay, so now, and certainly whatever you use to boost the sound will have an effect on the overall tonal quality of the sound. I found that this was the best thing I have that can make it sound somewhat like it's in an old studio, and it sounds great. So, but anyways, after it's become too loud, then you have to tame the sound, and you just set this value here, your limiter's value for how loud it can be, and this is set to 0. And when you enable this, it will now not go past 0. So now this has made your sound more inviting to hear, and it's louder and it sounds good. Now we can listen. And without either. So typically this is in any DAW, okay? This rule is in any DAW, but it's something. It's a helpful method for making your music sound good. Because I didn't know this when I was making music, and I was always wondering why my songs were sounding so quiet. And it's because they were never pushed to their limits in volume, in gain. They were, and I didn't know that you were supposed to. Ideally, you don't have to do anything, but and you never have to get to zero, but because you want to make sure everything's balanced. Like, you don't want too much of one sound. You don't want too much bass. You don't want too much drums. But you want to make sure that everything sounds good together. And sometimes that means not leaving things a few decibels quieter than zero, so that everything that's part of mixing, everything sounds good together. Right? All of these tracks, all of these channels will sound good played together. So not one single thing should be too loud or too quiet. It's a sort of a listening skill to balance everything. And you get good at it as you practice more and listen to your own music more and reflect on it more. The reflecting is so important. If you're not actually honest with yourself and criticize what you're doing, then you could make actually some drastic mistakes. And I speak from experience with that. So yeah, that's an important tip I wanted to teach. Is how to make your overall sound really loud and clear, because everyone wants to hear things loud and clear, and not too loud either. That's part of keeping the overall the sounds below zero. Now, there's certain music that certain people don't care and they want to make things loud and intense, and they can do that. But for a general understanding, it's pretty important to keep things under 0 decibels of loudness. And you could be wondering, actually, why there are a lot of pops in your sound, in your music. And it's because digitally, the sound will begin to distort digitally. It can't be pushed past 0 because it wants to stay below 0. So that's something to take into consideration. I've taught some really important things right now, and I'm probably going to remember more later, but I think this is good enough, and I think this has been a pretty decent explanation of certain things for Ableton, for music, how to use this software. You should have a slightly better understanding of how to do certain things. Let me talk about grouping. I forgot about this. So how do you actually group tracks together? So I right click. I think you can actually use this DAW totally with the keyboard. I could be wrong. But I right click and do ungroup tracks. Actually, sometimes when you need to add more tracks, you actually have to ungroup tracks. And then you left click on everything and then press shift, left click again on all to select all of them. And then you right click again and you go to group tracks. Everything's there together now, and they'll play together. Another thing, stock Stock Ableton comes with one moment. I can't see, there's a wire in my way. Okay, stock Ableton will come with this, like, at a certain value or whatever. This is so important. I took hours, like, trying to find why this was happening, and it's because of this global thing here. You have to set this to global right here on launch. You have to set this to global, and all of the patterns will be played back in sync. If you don't have this to global, and it's for every track, actually every track has to be set to global, they'll all play back in different times. They'll go out of sync, especially if they're different pattern lengths, and it'll be really bad, and you'll wonder why things are out of sync, and it's awful. Every time you press play, patterns will start at different times, so you have to set every channel to global. And I think there's a way to do that here in the menu. I'm not sure. Let me see if I can look for it really quick. If not, I'm not going to try. But I believe I did change something. Well, I don't remember what I did, but there was something I did here in launch that was able to make this global every time, because it wasn't like that before. I used to have to do it track by track. I can't remember what I did, but know that it's possible. Otherwise, you'll have to do it every time by itself. Alright, so that's it. Those are my tips for Ableton. Don't be overwhelmed. It's a really easy software. Let me explain for just beginners some very basic things, okay? Like, this is mute and unmute, which means to not hear the sound. This is if you want to pan the audio right or left, and you'll hear it on either the left ear or the right ear, more or less. This is the volume of your track. If you want to hear what you're recording live, you press this, and it'll even do that as well through the automatic. It's under different circumstances, though, it'll work. Like, if you want to hear what you've or it's really complicated, but if you record something here and you leave it on here, it'll play back and you'll be able to hear it. If you want to if you have like an audio interface and you want to hear that instead versus what's being played back, you'll press this blue thing here, this blue input, and okay, and then what else? The MIDI is important, so it's okay to leave everything at all, which means that anything that's any MIDI that is being sent into this program is being sent into this one channel. and it'll pick it up and it'll respect that data that's coming in. Or if you just need it from a specific thing like a keyboard or a MIDI interface, you can do that. So if I had a MIDI interface, I would select the MIDI interface channel, which is channel A, and then send it to an instrument right here. It would actually be like this. Send it to channel A, and no, you would MIDI keyboard input from your keyboard so that your digital USB keyboard can control, and then it could actually control the MIDI output of your instrument, your physical instrument, and then your audio interface will record that instrument right here. So that's how you set up MIDI with an instrument. To start recording, you press this button here, this record button. It'll turn red, and it's not doing it right now because there's no MIDI interface plugged in. But you can record your MIDI tracks here like this, you know, and then you just press record, and it'll record what you did right here. It overrode what was here. You can see right here, and I previously recorded some audio here, so that's why that's there. So MIDI is different than audio, absolutely. And that's pretty much it. I mean, those are all pretty much some of the more important things I know. And I don't even know this program all that well. Seriously, like there's a lot of things I'm confused about. Automation. Automation's important. Let me talk about automation. So for automation to take place, so what is automation? It's controlling a parameter within a synthesizer, an instrument, or an effect, and to see this, and in real time, it's pretty much changing the parameters in real time. And it'll do it every time if you play back your track. It'll play it back with automation changes, like the parameter changes. So how is this done? It's done in envelopes, and then you select it's per track, and like let's say I wanted to change something here, right? I would go here, and now it has a list of things to change live, and then you go into the changer, and you just edit what you want to change, how much you want to change that value. You can edit it, and then now it's going to change that value. This is a mess. Hold on. So you see it's changing the pitch of the sounds here through automation. So it's a cool way to change the knobs without actually having to do anything. Like look, I'm not doing anything with my hands. It's because there's automation within the track. And this is all done through MIDI, I believe, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, any really intelligent people out there. But yeah, that's the last thing I wanted to teach. I didn't know about automation until actually last year, which is insane. And I've been at it for 4 years, so I didn't know it until year 4. Okay, so that's it. All right, thanks for watching.